So I would say that cooperation in cyber affairs, it's today more important than ever. So it's really become a key enabler for nations, and I would say, I would assess that if you cooperate with your like-minded allies, your partners, other countries with whom you have things to share, I think that's really to the benefit of all those involved. What we see in the world right now is there is no consensus on site when it comes to agreements to international law, which would apply to cyber issues, and therefore it's even more important that nations who can find consensus, that those countries, they do work together, they engage in cooperation projects, they share best practices on policy, on capacity building. I think the latter is especially important, as what we see is really a gap in awareness, there is a gap in knowledge, and if you can pool and share indeed the capacity which is available, that could really be of benefit to all societies involved. Yes, well, as mentioned, we are, as a global society, we are quite far from a consensus, and there have been indeed proposals for the establishment of a framework or new norms, new best practices which nations should follow. Well, there is no consensus in sight, and one approach which, for example, the NATO CCD COE in Tallinn in Estonia has hosted for the couple of years is a manual. It's called the Tallinn Manual 2.0, which basically lays out the rules which exist already, the international law which has been approved by nations over many years and decades. And I think the key is really how you adapt the existing norms and the existing international law into the reality which is around us today on the 21st century. That is the reality of cyberspace, the threats from cyberspace, and indeed the behavior in cyberspace. And indeed there are different players. There are governmental players, there are non-governmental agencies which are all stakeholders. No country is an island. Cyberspace has no borders. Those well-known statements all are valid, and it is really crucial, I think, that on the government side or the national policy and national side in general, nations adhere to the agreements which are in place, whereas they also engage the societies at large, because no nation can do it alone, but no nation can be immune to the capacity it has nationally. So really governmental stakeholders, non-governmental stakeholders, they all could be of benefit to the nation in times of need. In Estonia we have had this experience, the 2007 cyber attacks, the aftermath and the mitigation of those attacks. We solved in close partnership between the government entities and the non-governmental institutions, basically volunteers, if you will, volunteers from also the private sector came together and helped to lay foundations for a, let's say, national approach to cyber threats and vulnerabilities.